Pro Football Playbook, presented by the Pigskin Podcast Network. Your source for team news, draft needs, player profiles and rankings, full Senior Bowl, Combine, and NFL draft coverage, news, analysis, discussion. It's in the playbook. Now, here is your host, sports journalist Bill Alvstad, and featured analyst Keith Myers. Hey, Pro Football Playbook Podcast listeners. I'm Bill Alvstad, sitting down with Keith Myers. Today is going to be a fun show, Keith. We're doing our mock draft 2.0, live mock draft, 2 rounds, all teams, one right after the other, and we're just going to kind of roll with it and go with it and see what happens. Welcome in.
It's going to be hopefully fast-paced because 2 rounds of 64 picks, and this is supposed to be a 30 to 35-minute show. I don't think we've hit that range in a while. We're always in the 40s or 50s, but let's see if we can get through this. So
okay, logistically what we're going to do is we're seriously going to try to get through this. So we might not talk about every single player. We're just going to make selections. I think have we decided if we're going to do it collectively or if we're going to go one after the other?
Let's just trade off. Let's just trade off. It's more fun that way.
Okay. So what I'm going to do,
then I can snipe you, and you can be like, "No, that's who I want it," and it's fun that way.
So what you're seeing here is the NFL Mock Draft Database website, their mock draft simulator. We're going to use that. We've selected all 32 teams. We're going to go through. We've attributed the 2022 draft 2 rounds. It's a normal speed because we're doing every pick with realistic draft scenarios and strict trading. We're not going to do any trades on this draft this time around, and we're just going to start. So
can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, let me start, and then I'm going to go up to the top, and then we're on the clock. Is that zoomed in enough or a little bit more?
That's better.
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
Yeah, let's just start this thing. I'll go.
Okay.
I like the idea. I know Evan Neal's sitting here on the big board at number 1, but I'm a really big believer in beefing up your offensive line, and this is the pick, and I think it's needed there. So I'm going to go with Evan Neal with the first pick.
Yeah, and so the Lions are here. They need a quarterback. We also know that there's no quarterback in this draft. So I'm looking at adding, a defensive lineman, and I'm going to go with Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he has more upside than Aiden Hutchinson, even though they're both going to be fantastic players. But he's just my favorite.
Kayvon Thibodeau?
Yep.
All right. Third pick, Texans. We know they need an edge rusher. It's Aiden Hutchinson. We already know that. So that's the pick.
Yeah, the Jets need an offensive lineman, to be honest, and there's a bunch sitting there. So Ekwonu he's the guy.
Okay, interesting.
He's going to kind of just down the line.
Yeah,
so far.
I like. Now the Giants are interesting. They could go a couple of different ways here. A couple of cornerbacks on the list right off the bat. Kenny Pickett's there. I think they're staying the course. Kylie Hamilton is there. He's my favorite player in the draft. They've got 2 picks here. I'm going to go with the offensive tackle, though, Charles Cross. I think he's the second best offensive tackle in the draft, and that's what I'm doing.
All right, so now I'm going to go off script a little bit, and with the Carolina Panthers, I think they take Kenny Pickett, quarterback Pitt, to be their guy because we know Sam Darnold's not.
Yeah, you're jumping up in front of Atlanta and jumping up in front of the Washington Football Club or the Commanders to do that pick. Wow, interesting. Okay. This is the second pick. We went with the offensive tackle. I'm going to go with Hamilton here.
Such a good pick there.
It's a good pick for them, and they need that desperately.
Yeah, and just kind of following along here with Atlanta. Atlanta has a lot of needs, but Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU, is such a good fit for them.
The Broncos, what are they going to do? You took their option off the table, but Malik Willis is still sitting there. I'm going to go with Malik Willis as their quarterback of the future.
Nice. Okay, so the Jets are on the clock again. They need to get some weapons. They've already got their, their offensive tackle. Let's go with scroll back up. You're scrolling down too far and making it
I'm
hard.
at the top. I'm at the
top.
top.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you had scrolled down and lost some people, but Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver out of
Nice.
Ohio
He's
State.
He's a great route runner too. Okay, Washington. They're in a conundrum. They need a quarterback. Are they going to reach for Matt Corral here? Is it a reach? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he goes through the combine process and he ends up being the guy. Washington's desperate. They need to solve that problem. I'm choosing Matt Corral for them.
Wow. 3 quarterbacks in the top 11.
That's what happens in a desperation situation where none of the teams that expected trades in the free agent market and the trade market materialized. All the quarterbacks ended up staying with their teams. At least that's my thought process. This is what's going to happen.
So the Vikings need they need a lot of different things, but for them, I think a good scheme fit and what they do would be David Ajabo, the edge out of Michigan.
Nice. Well, this one's going to be easy. Cleveland Browns need a center, and I think Tyler Linderbaum's one of the best interior offensive linemen in this draft, if not the best, and he's their pick.
Yeah, and so then you get down to Baltimore, and they've also got a bunch of needs. They really need to give Jackson a weapon. So I'm going to go. I know there's other players available, but I'm going to go with Drake London.
Wow.
The wide receiver out of USC, just big guy, red zone target. He's really going to help Jackson out.
Well, we've reached the fun part of the draft now, where the Philadelphia Eagles have 3 out of the next 5 picks, which is crazy. We don't have any trades in this. I would imagine that one of those is going to be a trade down so they can accumulate some depth going forward. But let's just take a look at all 3. I'm taking the best player on the board. Amon Gardner is the best corner in this draft, I think. And they're going to at least get him before anybody else does. So we're going to go there. They're up next. George Karlaftis is sitting there. They need some edge help. Go ahead, Keith.
I would say they also need is some wide receivers. I know they need weapons.
Exactly.
The fact that Treylon Burks is sitting there for them.
I know.
I can't not take him for that.
I know. Spot. Yeah. No. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great pick right there. The Chargers, you probably took the pick that the Chargers wanted there. But Nakobe Dean is there, sitting there. They need some help on defense. Obviously, their offense is kind of is in sync right now. So I'm going with Nakobe Dean, best linebacker in the draft.
So the Saints are in a weird spot in that without a quarterback, are they contending? Are they rebuilding? I think they need to start the rebuilding process. And so that's why I'm not taking a wide receiver, which is what I would normally do. I'm going to go ahead and give them George Karlaftis, a defensive end, in order to, continue to beef up that defense as they try and get younger.
I've seen George Karlaftis falling in big boards, Keith. Do you think that trend continues? I think at 9 here, he's a little high.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's rated 9. I think that was too high. I think 18, 20, 22, somewhere in there, we're starting to get there. I also looked down the board slightly and didn't see another edge player. And Jordan Davis would have been the other option that I would have gone there. But I just thought edges are harder to find. So I went with Karlaftis in that spot.
Well, speaking of Jordan Davis, edges are hard to find, but so are Jordan Davis's.
Yeah.
He's a monster on the interior defensive line, and he's going to cause havoc, and he's going to be the Eagles' pick, and they're ecstatic to run up to the podium and get this guy.
Okay, so now we get to the Steelers, who are going to be rebuilding. They don't have a quarterback. They're not in a position to draft one. Decent defense, very little going for them on the offense. I think they've got to figure out something on offense to make this work. And Chris Olave, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, makes a lot of sense for them. Guy who's big and blocks well and those kind of things. So let's go with that.
Nice. All right. Let's I think they need some blocking up front in New England. And so I'm going to bypass Trevor Penning for them, which I hesitate to do. but I'm going to give them Kenyon Green, interior offensive lineman out of Texas A&M.
That works. Okay, so with the Raiders, they're in kind of a weird spot, but I really like Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback out of Clemson for them. I think he'll be a good scheme fit, really help that defense. And the offense is good. The defense needs work, and I think that's a nice upgrade for him.
All right. So this is an interesting pick. Arizona's needs, I think, wide receiver help. They've got Hopkins, but they've got some Christian Kirk's coming up in free agency, as well as AJ Green is just not, he did pretty well for them this year, but they need to look to the future. And I think when you look at Murray complaining about some of the weapons that they've got recently, they go with Jamison Williams here.
Yeah. So the Cowboys, their offense put up a ton of points, but it struggled down the stretch. They needed some offensive line help. I don't really know if offensive tackle or is where they need it, because kind of need it more in the interior, but Trevor Penning is sitting there for them, and I don't think they pass him.
Wow. That's great. Buffalo has an underrated defense. So I'm not sure if they need Devin Lloyd or not, but Devin Lloyd is the best player available in this draft currently, except for Jermaine Johnson. We all know Buffalo has liked their defensive ends over a long period of time, and Jermaine Johnson's the pick.
Yeah, that's a good one. Tennessee, again, this is a team that, they've got a lot of stuff going for them. Very good roster. I think that just giving him a guy, it's a value pick here. Devin Lloyd, linebacker, just continue to build that defense, which is already good.
All right. Nobody really knows what's going to go on in Tampa Bay this year. Is it going to be a complete roster destruct after their quarterback leaves? Not sure what they're doing there. They got a lot of question marks, but they're doing okay. I think that Arians likes defense, and I think we're going to stay on the defensive side of the ball and give them a nice corner. Trent McDuffie's the pick.
Yeah. All right, Green Bay. So I'm going under the assumption that Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay. If Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay, and they don't draft him a wide receiver, he'll probably, I don't know, just go on a murderous rampage or something. So Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver out of Penn State's got to be the guy.
Nice. All right, Miami. What's Miami going to do? I think they go interior defensive lineman here. Trayvon Walker and DeMarvin Leal are sitting there. I really like Leal, but Trayvon Walker's got some championship pedigree here. So I'm going to take the champion in Walker.
Wow. The Chiefs, we know what their offense is like. We also know what their defense is like. Almost certainly going to, be cutting Clark on the defensive line. They need defensive line help, and so you left me Leal. I'm not going to say no. Just like that's you made that easy by taking Walker, the pick ahead. So Leal's the guy.
All right, Bengals. Wow, this is going to be an interesting pick here. How about Sam Howell? No. Okay.
No.
He's not going to be the pick.
You've got to give them an offensive lineman.
I know.
How do you not draft an offensive lineman?
Well, the reason that you don't is because, Bernard Raymond's there, but do you value Raymond here? Do you trade back out of this pick? Do you go in a different direction and hope you've got an offensive lineman later on? I'm not a fan of Daniel Falalo. I'm just not seeing a offensive lineman here that I like, but they do need help all over the place. Their defense was susceptible. Career Elam is underrated in my book. He's got the best coverage rating in this draft, and he's my pick.
Yeah. So so now we're in a nice position. Actually, I like that pick for them because they need to upgrade the Eli Apple spot on that defense. So all right, so and with the 32nd pick, somehow we ended up with the Detroit Lions because that's what happens, right? That's where the Lions belong is at the last pick.
This is the Jared Goff.
Yeah, I know.
And Stafford compensation.
And I think they are in a position here to finally fix some of that. I think Sam Howell is a nice pick for them, being able to go
I
and
think it's a nice pick too.
get a quarterback here. It's the last pick of the first round, so they do get that 5th-year option with him, and he's an upgrade over anything they've got on the roster, and he'll be on a rookie contract. So Sam Howell.
You nailed it as far as the 5th-year option and the reason for this pick right here. That takes care of it. So that takes care of the first round too. I thought that went really well, and it was really
surprisingly quick.
I know. So now we have another 15 minutes to do the back half. So we're right on target, Keith. It's rare that we do that.
I'm a little surprised.
You set that up early, and I'm glad we did that. All right. So do you want to flip now, and you make this first selection in the second round?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So let's see. What are we going to do? I'm going to give them a tight end, another weapon for their offense, and their highly rated quarterback who just continues to develop. And I'm going to go with Trey McBride.
They've got to help him out. Hopefully the new coaching staff does. All right, so now we're back to the Lions again. And this is the reason why I didn't wait to do Sam Howell in this spot, was simply for that 5th-year option. But now they've got to go through and upgrade. Well, they need upgrades everywhere, but having a guy like Devontae Wyatt on the defensive line, I think would be a good fit for them and really stabilize some of what they do. So that's my pick, Devontae Wyatt.
Nice. So I believe that the Jets safety, and I can't remember his name right now, is entering free agency. And if they don't solve that, it's going to be an issue. So Daxton Hill is going to be my pick.
Nice. All right. So the Giants back on the clock again. In this case, I think at some point you've just got to continue to, I'm looking at this. I'm not seeing. Raymond would probably be the pick, but I'm actually going to go down a little bit and reach for a guy and take Zion Johnson, who is a guard in college, but I think he moves to center and gives them a stabilizing force on that offensive line.
Wow, he really helped himself at the Senior Bowl.
He did.
All right, Texans. Texans are a mess. They need help everywhere. It'd be interesting to see what they're thinking. I think on the back end, you can't go wrong with a cornerback. Roger McQuarrie out of Auburn is going to be their guy.
I'm surprised to see him go that early, just because he has what we learned in the Senior Bowl is he's got those T-Rex arms.
Yeah, I know, but I needed to give them. I needed to get him off the board.
tired of looking at him.
Otherwise, he was just going to drop all the way out of the second round. And
yeah. Okay, so now we're down to the Jets again, and the Jets they kind of need help everywhere. I like that they've got we were able to get them some help. Let's go with Kyler Gordon, the cornerback out of Washington, just to give them some help on the back end and just make their defense better.
Nice. All right, Chicago. Logan Hall, to me, is my favorite player still on the board here on the interior. They've got Hakeem Hicks is probably heading out of town. He's getting older, as well as most of their interior defensive players are getting up there, and so he's kind of a guy that replenishes their stock.
Cool. Denver, we know the defense is championship caliber. We know the offense isn't. Let's go ahead and give them Bernard Raymond, the offensive tackle, just to make that offensive line better. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater can get more done. So let's do that.
All righty. Okay. Seattle Seahawks on the clock. They need help along the offensive line and defensive lines. They've got some scheme changes possibly coming on the back end for them. Linebacker would be interesting. Christian Harris sitting there, highly rated, is an interesting. They might need some safety help. Lewis Sine and Jaquan Brisker are both sitting there. Running back, it's all over the place for them. At this spot with no trades, I'm going to probably lean the position that's going to help them the most, and that's going to be safety right now, Jaquan Brister.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're back to Washington again, and the Commanders. Sure. And I'm going to, unless I'm screwing this up, and we gave them one earlier. Lewis Klein at the safety is a position of need for them, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what we picked with some of these teams that have already picked 2 or 3 times, right?
And we're going through it so quick. My brain's like, wait, did I pick that before or not? So, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, I can, if you need me to, I can scroll back and look. So you just have to tell me, and I will go back up. Okay, so the Atlanta Falcons, what are they going to do? I think they're going to go best player available here. They're going to stay away from Daniel Falal. I just don't know that he's going to be a guy that's going to get drafted in the second round. He's kind of going through this free fall a little bit. He had a horrible Senior Bowl. He's not going to test well at the combine. He's just going to be one of those players. I'm going to go with Christian Harris and give them a really good defender.
Nice. So the Browns need weapons. And Drake Jackson sitting there. I mean, this is that's pretty easy. Give him that.
Yeah, I like that pick. Yeah. What's going to happen to these running backs too? These running backs going to fall all the way out of the second round here. This will be interesting. Baltimore. Baltimore is interesting. I would definitely say
they need a running back.
They do need a running back.
They need a running back badly.
But do you give them a running back here? I think in this scenario where you just can't trade and you're choosing best player available, what's going to fit their scheme best, Keith? Breece Hall or Isaiah Spiller?
I think Breece Hall.
I do too.
Is a better
just speed. You know, he runs like a 4.43 as opposed to Isaiah Spiller's like a 4.53 kind of a guy. So I'm going to go ahead and give him Breece Hall.
Okay, so now we're down to the Vikings again, and I know I went defensive line last time.
This guy in Minnesota. This is a perfect fit. This could be where he goes.
I don't think he gets drafted in round 2. Unless you pick him, I'm gonna have him sitting there as the top overall player. As a guy who's 360, I mean he's huge,
he's
but man,
380.
Okay. We'll see what he comes in at the combine. He didn't look great at the Senior Bowl, and I think he's going to just free fall out of everything.
He's going to need to move to the interior, and that's just the way it's going to have to be.
But
somebody might put him at right tackle, maybe.
You can't be 6'8" and play on the interior. But for the Vikings, I'm going to give him David Bell, the wide receiver out of Purdue. I just think they never fully replaced Stephon Diggs, so there's my guy.
I thought that you would have gone defense there.
Well, I went defense. I went defense the previous round. So,
no, this is interesting. They're definitely going defensive line right here with Fedarian Mathis. They need help on the interior defensive line, and now they've got it.
Nice. Okay. If the Colts, that was actually going to be my pick for the Chargers. The Chargers. You picked for the Colts. If the Colts hadn't taken that was my pick because the Chargers need defensive players, and it doesn't even matter. They just need defensive players. Scroll down just slightly.
How about a right tackle in Denarian Kennard?
No,
That'd be interesting for them.
They lost because their defense was just terrible.
Perry and Winfrey sitting there. With no trades, he might be the best value on the board right there.
He kind of is. I think let's go there. Let's go Perry and Winfrey, the defensive lineman out of Oklahoma, really disruptive guy. I know they need Bill to stop the run. He's not necessarily that, but he's so disruptive. So go with that.
Wow. My favorite pick in the second round so far. Okay. Saints. What are you going to do, Saints? Boy, talk about issues here. You know, Kamara is a free agent. Isaiah Spiller sitting there. I'm going to give him Spiller.
Nice.
Off the board at 49. I think that's a good value spot for him too.
Yeah. So the Dolphins, I'm trying to remember what you gave them earlier.
Let's find out. Let's
can
go
we go up
back
and
up
look?
and see if we can find the Dolphins picks here. Dolphins, Devon Walker, defensive line in the first round. And did they have another one? Yeah, well, that was it. So interior defensive lineman, Trayvon Walker.
Okay, so let's go ahead and give them Darian Kennard, offensive tackle out of Kentucky, to help Tua out on the line.
All right, Steelers. Steelers are going Quay Walker all the way here. Steelers have just been a remarkable, consistent linebacker club for such a long time. And
wait, we're not on the Steelers. You're on Philly.
Oh, I was looking at the Steelers. Sorry, Philly. Well, there goes that. All right, Philly has picked quite a bit here, and I got to remind myself where Philly is at. Okay,
because Philly at one point had 3 out of 5 picks.
Okay, Amon Gardner, corner, Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Jordan Davis. They've already had the best draft so far. There's just not even a question here. Yeah. Now they can just have a fun pick here where they just get best player available. Quay Walker's still an option.
Do they go quarterback?
Desmond Ridder here is a very interesting pick for them. I still think that they're on the Hurts thing. I would go George Pickens to help out on the offense here, and I think that's what they're going to do. George Pickens.
And you already sold the pick. I don't need to explain it. Trey Walker to the Steelers.
Quay Walker.
Quay Walker.
Quay. Yeah. Okay. Raiders. What are you gonna do, Raiders? I'm gonna go developmental quarterback here. I don't think they're sold with the guy from their backup option there.
The backup option, the guy from Oregon.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he may leave in some sort of a little trade scenario. I think Desmond Ridder is a decent quarterback and a great developmental project for them.
Nice. All right. So now we're back to the Patriots again. This is a team that the defense was, okay at times, but they need help on the back end. So you don't think so?
Well, I was thinking you were going to go in a different direction, but go ahead.
I was going to say Darian Kendrick just to give them a cornerback, someone that can help on their back end. Think about how the points they gave up against Buffalo in the playoffs. They need some help in coverage.
Okay, that's the pick. Here come the Cardinals. Interesting.
You already gave them a wide receiver.
I was trying to think about how they're looking on the offensive line, Keith. And
they always need offensive line.
Yeah, I know that they do. And I'm looking at Nicholas Pettit-Frere here as a guy that's available for them that could come in and probably start right away. They've got Kingsley and Barre. Chandler Jones is entering free agency, Keith.
Different kind of player, though.
Yeah, Nick Bonito.
Yeah,
out of Oklahoma might be a good. Cameron Thomas is there as well. Boy, Mafe. They like those kind of players, Keith.
They do.
But you know what? They're going to go home and do an offensive tackle here and play it smart.
Yeah, you got to help your quarterback, especially after you spent the last 10 days pissing him off.
Yeah, well, we gave him wide receiver and now the offensive line. Those are things that he's going to be happy with.
Yep. All right. So now we're on to the Cowboys. And if I remember right, I believe we gave him an offensive lineman in round 1. And so I think they go on to the defensive side of the ball. And a guy like Kingsley Enagbare would be great for them. They've got, the 7-tech side, a 5-tech defensive end is a need for them and a good player. So I would go there.
Nice. Okay. Buffalo. Good golly, Miss Molly. The tight end is interesting for them.
Weidermeyer.
Yeah, because I've already given him some defensive help.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go that Weidermeyer. That's my pick.
All right, so now we're back to Atlanta. I believe we already gave him a cornerback, if I'm remembering correctly. And I want to stay on the defensive side of the ball and continue to build that defense. I really like Benito at this spot and in this defense. So
Nice. Green Bay. All right. What are we going to do, Green Bay? Okay.
they should take a quarterback just because you cannot piss off Aaron Rodgers enough. Do double dip on the second round quarterback.
Trade Jordan Love and take the pick you got for Jordan Love and pick Carson Strong. That would be funny to me. I mean, right? That would be just trolling your own starting quarterback.
Oh my God.
That would be funny. I'm going to give him some edge help. Cameron Thomas is a perfect fit for them.
Good. Yeah. All right. So now we're back to Tampa and having no idea which way they're going. They're going to need, like, I'm expecting them to end up trying to hold it together and realizing they need to rebuild without their quarterback, and the fact that their quarterback was holding that team together. So I think that getting a tackle like Max Mitchell is a nice solid piece that you can just stick there and they'll be ready for when they get their next quarterback next year.
Nice. All right. San Francisco, is this their first pick in the draft this year? It is. And it's interesting because a player is sitting there that is a perfect fit for them. Boy Mafe gives them another edge guy to help protect Watt on the other side. This is where I'm going.
That's a nice pick for them. Kansas City. All right. So they're a team that I know people aren't going to say this, but they could use another wide receiver, someone to take some of the pressure off Hill, and having Walker, Jalen Tobert, the wide receiver out of South Alabama, is a really interesting one there. He's a higher upside than Wan'Dale Robinson, but because they don't need him to come in and star early, I think the higher upside is going to be really appealing. And so Jalen Tolbert's my pick for them.
Nice. Now we are on the clock with the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, it is tempting to look at Majay Sanders here on the edge, being from Cincinnati. Talk about a homer pick. That would be it. Sam Williams again is there. Chad Muma, I really like.
If we gave them a cornerback earlier.
What about a space-eating defensive end or defensive tackle that just eats up double teams and stops the run? That would be interesting. Isaiah Likely at tight end, receiving tight end for them would be a great pick. That's where I'm going to go. This guy has been rising up draft boards. Will continue to do so. Likely to test very well at the combine. Isaiah Likely's the pick.
Nice. No, another weapon for George Burrow. And not an offensive lineman.
Joe Burrow. You said George. Did you literally call him George?
No, I said Joe Burrow.
Okay. All right.
Just okay. Checking. And now we're down to
the final pick in the second round.
The final pick of the second round. The final pick of this draft is Denver there. And God, there's just a lot of good players left. The third round is going to be fun. Yeah. I think that we've already gone offensive line in order to help them. I think that even though the defense is solid, the defensive just value at this point with a guy like I can't pronounce his name, but Arnold Ebiketie, is that right?
Something like that.
Ebiketie, the edge out of Penn State. That's value. It's useful. I mean, it's a guy that's going to do well in that defense. So
nice.
I think that's where we go.
All right, so we'll save that so we can look at it. You can comment on it as I scroll if you want, and find out if you really like this, if we did good. Everyone at the top, the first round kind of went the way that it's going to go. Malik Willis may have gone a little high there. I may have reached on that pick a little bit, but Denver was desperate.
Well, and you went there, but we also we did some other stuff on the offense in order to help them out. I think, and he's a developmental guy, so I think that because we got him an offensive tackle later, and So you're going to have Teddy Bridgewater there for a year, and then turn it over to Willis. I think it's not a bad.
Are there any
scenario
picks
for
out of
them.
this first round that you're seeing that you do not like, that you expect to be wrong?
All of them. I expect every pick,
right.
every pick we ever do to be wrong.
George Karlaftis seems to be dropping, and I'm not sure exactly why.
Well, because he's not nothing that on his tape is spectacular. He does a lot of things really well, but nothing spectacularly. And I think that's going to cause him to drop.
I think Trevor Penning could end up going before the 15th pick. Wow. By the time it's all said and done.
I think
Jermaine Johnson could go.
Jermaine Johnson is going to go up. Yeah, I think the Sam Howell pick, it might like that's the one where I could see them doing that. I could also see them not, because they need a quarterback, and it's the last pick of the first round. So you get the 5th-year option. He's more of a developmental guy, but they've got Goff. If they wanted a cheaper Goff, okay. But I think they may wait a year, be really bad again for another year with no quarterback play, and then go for a quarterback in a better quarterback class.
Jets had a ton of picks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Philadelphia, I think, won early.
Jets did well.
But the Jets did very, very well. Yeah. The Broncos did well.
Yeah. I'm not enamored with Brisker to Seattle. I know why you went that route.
Well, given the value on the board, look at what was behind him here.
I know
which way would you have gone? Would you have given him Harris at linebacker and had 2 linebackers to them in the last 3 years that have gone really high?
Actually, I might have. And people would have said it
Drake
was a
Jackson.
Range, I might have gone with Perry and Winfrey on there. I think that would be a good pick for them. The fact that he went to the Chargers at 48, I think, is a steal for them. I also don't know if it's a great scheme fit. They need run stuffers on that defensive line. They could not stop the run to save their lives. But I go, as you scroll down, where's the next big?
Well, and you can't go wrong with
line.
You can't go wrong with a guy that has speed on the offensive or the defensive line that can get to the quarterback.
So yeah, and you scroll down, well, where's the next, more complete defensive tackle, and it wasn't one. So
not in this group. Yeah. Yeah, when you don't have any trades, you're going to choose almost the best player available at any time throughout this.
Clay Walker to the Steelers seems unfair.
Yeah, right.
Because he's a not really good player, and you put him in a scheme, and with on a coaching staff that's going to get the most out of him. And yeah, if you're a fan of one of the teams in that division, you're going to hate us for saying that one, because that's just, he's going to be so good in that scheme. So
I kind of like the way that this draft worked for the most part. Anyway, that's it. All right. So I'll save this and post it when we post the all the stuff. So anything else?
No, let's wrap this up. I can't believe we made it through it in that much time. It's probably why my voice and brain feel tired, because that was a lot of stuff to get through, and
it was a lot of picks. I'm glad we do that. We did that fast and didn't hang around for too much commentary on each player. So that's the way things need to work when you're doing 2 rounds in 30 minutes. So, okay, let's wrap this up. Follow Keith on Twitter at Myers NFL. I'm at Alvstad NFL. The show is at PF_Playbook on Twitter. And you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms and our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and let your friends know. So we'll see you guys. Thanks for listening to the Pro Football Playbook Podcast. Follow Keith at Myers NFL. Bill is at Alvstad NFL. The show is at PF_Playbook. Listen and subscribe on your favorite podcast app or YouTube, and at our website, profootballplaybook.co.